Hello, Isaiah here with Cheeky Scientist, and I want to tell you about the top 6 objections that we've seen come in terms of PhDs saying, I don't want to join the Cheeky Scientist Association because of this. These are really the questions that they have, and I wanted to answer them for you here because we've had hundreds of PhDs join the association this week. But if you're watching this, maybe you're still considering joining, but you have one of these same objections. So I'm going to talk through them with you, let you know you're not alone. It's normal as a PhD to carefully evaluate these things. The most important objection is towards the end, so make sure you watch the entire video. The first objection that comes up most often, and I understand this as a PhD myself, is this a scam? When you see something online, there's always a question of, is there any substance to it? Right? You're seeing me on video. Is this real? Is the organization real? What's the credibility? So I wanted to talk to you about credibility in a couple of different ways. First of all, one of the things that we always do is we have as many of our PhDs as possible talk about their success in the program after they go through it, after they get hired. If you look just on this page alone at our other videos, you will see dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of videos of PhDs who've transitioned successfully telling their story. If you go to our website, you will see hundreds and hundreds of videos of PhDs telling their story about how they use the Cheeky Scientist Association to get hired successfully. These are real people who you can also find on LinkedIn and who have put their names, their faces, their companies, their professional reputations on the line to stand behind the association. Also, if that's not enough for you, we have been published several times in various different high-level media and publications, including Nature, right? So the Journal of Nature. This is our most recent article in Nature. The title is Why Earning a PhD is an Advantage in Today's Industry Job Market. And you can go to this article and you can see that we have been published. Cheeky Scientist, myself, has been published in Nature multiple times. Nature stands behind us because they know that we help PhDs get hired in industry. They know we're credible. And this is just important to communicate to you because, again, as a PhD myself, I understand that you want to know if you're going to invest in your career and in a program, in an association, that it's going to work for you and that it's credible. The second objection that we get the most is time. Okay, this is very normal for a PhD. As PhDs, we are very logical, we think carefully, we're strategic, we plan ahead, we play the long game. But eventually, if you wait too long, the long game turns into the end game, right? And this has likely happened to you. Maybe you look around at people you went to undergrad with and you see their careers taking off. You graduated above them, but they're buying houses, right? They're cars, going on vacations, and you're stuck getting paid about at the poverty level as a graduate student or as a postdoc. Maybe you're an unemployed PhD and you're wondering what happened. It's because you waited too long to take your career into your own hands. The point here is not to wait any longer, to start doing it now. And if you look at the data, this is a figure from Nature that recently came out. You can see that staying in academia doesn't help you. All right, so here we have people who did not do a postdoc, the solid line, and here we have people who did a postdoc, the dashed line. And they're looking at a sample in industry, government, nonprofit, and academia. This is the full sample, and what you see here is that people that did a postdoc, the dashed line below, never catch up in terms of salary trajectory or in terms of career trajectory to people who did not do a postdoc. In other words, a postdoc damages your career. You will hear lie upon lie, misinformation that a postdoc will help your career, but it doesn't. Not even in academia. Look at this figure. Even in academia, it takes almost 8 years, more than 8 years, to catch up to somebody who did not do a postdoc. Don't stay in your postdoc, okay? If you've done a postdoc already, it's okay, right? Don't beat yourself up over it, but move on. Get into a career. Don't think a postdoc's going to help you. It doesn't even help you in academia, all right? You'll never catch up. If you keep doing a postdoc, you're never going to catch up to somebody who did not do a postdoc. This is published in Nature. Another question that we get a lot of that has to do with timing, right, is like, well, why can't I wait? Why can't I finish up my postdoc? Or why can't I wait till I defend my thesis? You don't want to defend your thesis or be in a postdoc and your lab runs out of funding and then start looking for a job. That's how people end up unemployed for an average of 18 months, right, by waiting to make your career search a priority. And if you look at the data, things are not getting any better. You don't want to wait because of these trend lines. This solid line is the cumulative PhDs awarded in academia. This lighter solid line right down here is the number of professorships. Look at the increase in white space. Okay, there are way more PhDs being produced than professorships. And you might be thinking, well, at least the professorships are increasing slightly over this time period, but those are not full-time professorships, okay? That's published in Nature as well. If you look at full-time professorships over that same time period, this is what's happening. They're plummeting, okay? And this is only up to 2011. If you look at 2019, it's down to below 20%. Full-time professorships, you can't hide from this data. Why is this important? Because in academia, they're going to tell you being a professorship's challenging. It's possible, but it's supposed to be hard. No, we're all for going after a challenging career. What we're not for is going after a career that's not going to be there. In 5 to 10 years, full-time professorships will be extinct. They're being replaced rapidly by adjunct professorships, part-time contract professorships. You're seeing this at your own institution. You've seen it. You know it's happening. And the pile-up continues. If you look at the top 16 countries, this is 15 here. China is actually number 2 on the list with over 55,000 PhDs, but they just reported late for this year. But all of this combined, there's over 700 PhDs granted in STEM every year just from these top 16 countries. From all countries, it's over 1,000 PhDs. That means every day you wait to take your job search seriously, every day you wait to get a job in industry, you're competing with another 1,000 PhDs in industry. And you might be thinking, well, they're not going to have the same background as me. Doesn't matter. In industry, we don't think in terms of like a specialty, like an academic specialty, like computational analytical chemist. Instead, we think in terms of chemist, or probably just scientist. So you are, if you wait, you are increasing the chances that you won't get a job because of the increases in competition. Okay, so you can't wait. The third objection we get is, price, money. Look, we understand most training programs out there that are as comprehensive as the association and come with a network with 7,000 members are very expensive. They're up to $2,000. Okay, it's very common. If you look online, you'll see the same thing. What we try to do is give you the minimum price that we can support you with, right? Because as the association grows, we have to hire more people in terms of support and faculty to train you, people in our programs to support the program where we develop new tools and apps. We have a new mobile app, a new members directory, a new job reference board, all of these different tools that we keep developing so the price continues to go up. So right now is actually the least expensive it'll ever be to get into the association. But here's the great thing. When you're in the association, you get lifetime access. You never have to pay for anything else to stay in the association. You get in forever. There's a lot of other programs out there that are going to charge you recurring month by month. If you don't pay, they kick you out, or year over year. We don't do that. It's one price forever, and we continue to invest in you. That's how certain we are we can get you a job in industry, because we've done it thousands and thousands of times, no matter your background. And look, this is not going to change, right? So these lighter colored bars here, the shorter ones, are what you're paid in academia in a postdoc. The taller bars, that's what you're actually worth in industry, no matter your background. If you're a life scientist, physical scientist, social scientist, engineering, education, anything but the classical humanities, right? So all of this is STEM. You are worth $91,000, a little over $91,000 on average in industry. This is worldwide. Okay, so $91,000, what does that equal to per day? That's $255 per day. All right, that means that the association will pay for itself in 2 days. Just 2 days. You need to get into industry so you can start getting paid what you're worth. Okay, what am I on? Objection? The fourth objection is background. Okay, background. And I talked about this a little bit already. Don't obsess over your background. We just had somebody with an engineering background get hired at one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, Pfizer, and get hired into a medical science liaison role. Doesn't matter what your background is. If you're a PhD, they know that you are a doctor of philosophy, which is a doctor of knowledge and the ability to ascertain knowledge. You're literally a doctor of learning. They know you either have the technical skills you need or you can learn them. And this is just a sample of some of the PhDs we've had come in our program with these backgrounds, and they've got into careers that require these backgrounds. Don't obsess over your background. No matter what background you have, we've helped PhDs get into the career that you want to get into, no matter how different it is. You have a visa. We've helped people get their visa. We have a team of immigration lawyers we work with that will help you get sponsored. A lot of it just comes down to knowing the right language and the sequence of events that are going to happen and what you need to say to a company to have them sponsor you. Number 5, things will get better. We all want to stay comfortable, stay with what we're used to, staying in academia, right? Even though it's painful, sometimes it's not painful enough yet. And you have to realize that nobody's going to help you in your career. right? You're focused on the tiny little things, showing up to the lab, the classroom, TAing, getting work done at the bench, whatever it might be. That's not going to move your career forward. You've likely had milestones or carrots or targets put in front of you, and then you achieved those, and then they moved. And you never got to reach that professorship that you've been seeking. You never got to get to the next level. Your salary's still low. You're paid less than everyone else that you know. Stop accepting this for your life. Stop thinking people are going to help you. We read a lot of the forums online from that review different universities. Things are not getting better. This is a great example of one, right? So a postdoc writes in and says, not enough protection for postdoctoral scholars. This is one of the biggest universities in the world, one of the most prestigious ones. The person talks about pros and cons, said it's competitive. Some things work well, some faculty are nice, but their faculty was exploitative, sociopathic, even abusive, and just expresses, how things could be better in the system. This is the university's response, and this is very normal. This is how little they care about you, especially as a postdoc. Postdoctoral scholars are not considered employees. That's the official response from a faculty member at that university. Stop accepting less for yourself. Things are never going to get better. The final objection we have is that there's really no jobs in industry. There are. Hiring of PhDs is up 500% compared to 18 months ago. 500%. You're likely thinking, no way, because I haven't been hired, or I haven't had recruiters reach out to me. I'm not seeing any different jobs online. Look, 80% of most jobs, 80% of all jobs are not posted online, right? You have to have a network that is working at those companies tell you about the jobs, because especially small to medium-sized companies, guess what? They are not posting their jobs online. And small in industry is 100 to 1,000 employees. Mid-size is 1,000 to several thousand, so they're not like academic small. These are great companies you can work for. They don't post their jobs online, they fill through referrals. But the increases in jobs, most of the new jobs in today's world are in STEM. This is a Mass Bio report showing that all jobs here, these lines, these are all jobs, US and worldwide. Guess what? They're flat. The actual growth is in STEM. This is 5.6% of millions of jobs. All job growth is in STEM. That's incredibly good timing for you, right? If you're looking for a job, you have to get the training you need to get hired into industry, get access to the network you need to get hired into industry, because you're not being hired, not because you're not valuable, not because your PhD is not valuable, but because you're invisible to employers. You have academic job titles on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile, and your headline. All of these things can be changed. You just need access to the right strategies and the right network, somebody that can introduce you to somebody who works at the company you want to work for, and that introduction turns into an informational interview, which turns into an interview, and you get hired. Okay, so hopefully these objections that we discussed here, if you've been considering joining the association, you've been able to walk through these objections, overcome them here first, and then take action, because today is the last day you can join the association. Go to phdsgethired.com, read the enrollment page, see if you're a good fit, and remember, today enrollment closes at midnight. I hope to see you in the program. No matter what you decide to do, remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional.